sound, brother?
Okay,
Yeah.
we are live, brother.
Great,
Let me know if
great.
you can hear me.
I can hear
Just
you
a
now,
sound check.
brother. I can hear you
Okay,
now.
all right.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Metamorphosis. We have a very interesting show. We are putting out a lot of content these days. We're going to stay focused. And I want to let you know, I am operating it through my phone, had everything set up. For some reason, everything starts buffering. Power's on and everything, but I said, okay, let's take it to the phone. So I'm going to be operating everything. I may be a little delayed because the buttons are so much smaller, but that's not stopping anything. It's really getting crucial out here, my brother. And I want to say this one thing. Well, first of all, how are you doing tonight? Well, for you, it's the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I was telling you, and first of all, greetings to you again, brother Lance, and the family out there. Always good to connect with you guys on Mondays. And I'm doing good, keeping up my regiments, staying focused, as you and I were speaking about how the only weapon they have now is the one of discouragement, and that since we can see punches before they come now, always have, but our people as a whole, then they have to resort to something new. I guess they haven't figured out what that is yet. They're still using that same playbook where they're denigrating our people and, erasing or trying to erase the written. But our people's greatest strengths have always been our oral tradition, which they don't have. So at the end of the day, we're gonna keep going, man. We're gonna keep holding on to the belts. You had those. I was telling you, you had those title defenses this week, and when we come, one of the main reasons I want to continue to, and it's important that we do this, that we continue to keep our great ancestors who fought vigorously for us to move forward. And with this fascinating story with Dr. George Washington Carver, rest in power, brother. Thank you. We
Most
always have
definitely.
to give props to our ancestors because we see this group of people who look at themselves as superior, who are really inferior, trying to destroy something that they cannot. So
Yes.
it's going to be a great day. We're going to, whenever we invoke one of the spirits of our ancestors, it always brings an energy that's real palpable if you tune into it and not get distracted by these other uploads. So I'm glad we can hear you, brother. You're a powerful brother. Your presence, you look 30 years younger than you are, and then
Oh, thank you, brother.
yeah, but your words are powerful too. So they can't block. I guess they're trying to block your face, but as long as we can hear you, that in itself speaks volumes. So if you want to start out with your banner and tell us, how you arrived
Yes, let me scroll
at
down to that and let me be careful in
Okay,
this so I don't hit the wrong button. No, I'm coming with it.
okay,
But yeah, here it is.
yes.
Well, we had the title Black Plants and White Weeds, right?
Mm,
So
mm-hmm.
I wanted to show trees, greenery, but some weeds crawling up the side of the tree. And that represents, those white weeds represents those people who have terrorized the earth with their warlike mentality and determination to destroy all things natural. When you look at the sun is a very wise entity because it burns them, doesn't burn us. We don't have to run around here afraid of the sun that gives life. And, you have organisms that are viruses, right? And it
Yes.
seems as though for a righteous society that is the virus of this earth, you see? So, okay, we're not going to say every white blood cell is going to destroy, but it's in the nature. And the
Yeah,
bottom line is, you know, I put that there that way, and I had the picture of George Washington Carver to the side, and the
yeah,
expression that he has on his face is
yeah,
one pretty much, I would say, in this photo, for my purposes, is he's a little disgusted to see how he's given so much to humanity, and he's had
yeah,
to deal with a lot being who he is and being in the skin that he is. So when I hear people say, "Oh no, there is no racism," there's no, I don't harp on it where it's going to stop me, but I know where not to step. Look,
yeah,
if you have a dog in your backyard and he goes to the bathroom in the backyard, you better put that floodlight on so you know where not to step. I'm not going to say there's no feces back there. It is, but you have to know how to avoid it. But what I
yeah.
wanted to say real quick is that I'm probably going to do a show on that within the next 2 days or so about this new
Okay.
thing with Bill Gates. It's not new. It's everything tying in and coming into focus where they're going to have everything unified with the digital ID and
Yeah.
the internet stuff, and it's going to be it's already here. It's already here, and it's
The
already tight.
facial
And
recognition.
yeah, we have no privacy, nothing that
I
we've
know.
ever done online, nothing in the present. Any
Yeah.
text message, any picture, anything immediately can be viewed. The only way is to get off the smartphone and to get off the internet as we know it, but there are ways around it. And I'm definitely going to get around that way. But I'm saying this before it comes this way. Again,
Yeah.
they say 2030, right? It doesn't have to be that. 2030 is now because they're lining everything up. We feel, oh, we're till 2030. No, they're lining everything up. When they say a store is opening soon, they're inside that store getting everything together, getting the shelves stocked up, getting everything. And that first day, boom, there it is. But it's already
Yeah.
implemented. So we're in
Oh
a
yeah.
different space right now, and they're working hard to keep us distracted. They're working hard to keep us at war with each other. They're working hard to keep us with these weird ideologies that are out there where the black man is against the black woman and the black woman is against the black man. You don't see that with the Chinese online.
That ain't
You don't
true.
see that with other people online. Only us.
Yeah.
So we need to get it together. If you don't get it together, we're done. Only the ones who are prepared, who understand. Just want to welcome Sister Queen.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like you just got knocked out, brother.
I hit the wrong button, but I just wanted to say greetings and welcome to Sister Queen Diane and also Diana Hodges, who was on Facebook. But I got knocked off, brother.
Yeah.
Let me open up this banner. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Make sure you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, brother. I'm coming back to open up the banner.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm on the phone operating this thing. So
Yeah.
okay,
So,
good. I'm just checking
yeah.
everything.
And that in
All right.
that in itself actually gives credence to what we're discussing today in terms of you having to deal with that, because we know what weeds do to plants.
Mm-hmm.
That is documented in nature. But yeah, were you finished? Go ahead, brother.
Oh yeah, pretty much so. Just saying that, you know, where we think we are behind.
Yes.
We think we're ahead. I'm not saying to anybody personally, but when you play football, the quarterback doesn't throw the ball to where the receiving player is. He throws it to where he's going to be.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So we have to have that forward mentality that whatever we see going on now, we may see it and say something about it, but the overall battle, we have to think there at the end point of what they're planning, not to be reactionary, but to be proactive.
Now what you just said, Brother Lance, one of the great, and that's a great point, because one of the ways you do that is what you do when you come forward with your inspirations and downloads, and what we're doing today. And that is that our greatest teachers are our ancestors. But
Yes.
they tell you not to pay, but more importantly, we're not, there should be a picture of Dr. George Washington Carver. And I used to have one. I lost it when I moved several years ago. In every home where Black people reside. Because they don't have these pictures of people like George Washington Carver in their systemic facilities, right? Or institutions. However, Henry Ford, one of our first and greatest corporate men, he relied so much on George Washington Carver. People don't know this. He said that George Washington Carver at that time was the greatest scientist on the planet. That's what Henry Ford said. In fact, that term plants was a dedication to Dr. George Washington Carver from Henry Ford. That's why he started calling those facilities plants. And he built a special elevator just for Dr. Carver to be able to go all the way up, on the floors where they were developing things. And what people don't realize, okay, is that you can conceptualize something and apply it metaphorically to spirituality, to mentality, and to physicality. But oftentimes, because they don't have an open pineal gland or calcified pineal gland and a 90-degree way of seeing the world, then our people don't realize that you're a 720, when you add the metaphysical aspect, you're a 720-degree person. Okay? So before we go into it, were you finished, brother? Because I just wanted to say a few things about Dr. Carver.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Let me remove this banner, and we'll get into the visuals, which are really hard to see on this phone, but we're gonna work through it.
Okay. So
we're gonna
the
do
thing
it.
about Dr. George Washington Carver was, here was a man, and I'm just going to do a quick brief bio so we can set this up.
Take your time, brother.
Okay, is the prototype of what the Creator had in mind when he placed the man on the earth. Okay, now he may not be this machismo type weed mentality and caterpillar mentality that you've been given to what the definition of a man is, but you're talking about a giant of a man right here. Okay. I was so fascinated because, three of my older brothers went to Tuskegee, because at that time, that was only one of the only major institutions where Black men could go in the 40s and 50s. And even though Clark Atlanta, where I went to graduate school, is the oldest Black graduate school in the country, for undergrad students, they could only go to Tuskegee. So we have a situation where, let's run the clock back a minute, because what happens is, and you and I were talking about this earlier, Lance, is when you take or erase a history of a people or a part of real history, then the energy of that is still there. And our people are the greatest orators of history that ever lived, still are. But something happens that's why they keep us so inundated with this foolishness, because something happens when this energy is down here and not up here, but there's another energy covering it. Okay. But a couple of the things that was fascinating about this man was that here was a man, if he chose to be a multimillionaire, even back during that time, he could have been. Trust me. And he reminds me so much of my father. I remember how my mother used to get really angry because I'm not trying to stereotype women, but of course women like financial security. Okay, it's just the way it is. And he did not want to take the stuff that the people in the churches was offering him. Okay, he did not want to take it, and my mom was like, "No, we taking this because we spend 24/7 traveling around these different churches and doing what we do and taking care of the people. Oh, we're gonna take this money." But he had a disdain for that. And it wasn't that he didn't like nice things, because, you know, I mean, back in the day, my father, that's where my love for hats come from.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Flex the hats back in the day, you know, Lance, you from New York. So the thing is, one of the things that happen is we forget that we are the original seeds on the planet. And if you want to put that picture of the seeds, Lance, I can go into the presentation. But
okay, let me see.
We've gotten to a point where we don't even recognize anymore that you are the original seed, not that one. You keep flipping. I'll let you know. No.
These are extremely tiny on the screen, so that's why
okay.
I'm going to do them.
I know, brother. It's good. One more. Try one more.
See.
Because the one with the seeds is not that one. There's one with the seeds, a hand.
Okay. Sorry about that.
There we go. There we go. Okay, brother. I know you get to it. So one of the things that we don't realize when I thought about the term white supremacy. And what our people are not getting is they're not just talking about the physical domination of the planet. They're talking about the spiritual and psychological domination of it as well. But in the beginning, you know, I know they tell you in the beginning was the word, but it was the seed. Okay, you see these seeds? The Creator sprinkled these seeds out. Okay. Melanated seeds in fertile soil. You see all that beautiful growth there, right? And today we're going to talk about black plants, white weeds, and the hostile invasion of the planet. Okay. So this was the event that took place in the beginning. Okay, you don't have to agree with me. I'm just giving you what is given to me because nature is our greatest teacher and I'm taught through nature. Okay, so I know some of you may have different opinions. I know the family is all about nature, but who's that? Oh, okay. But and Brother Lance is a shining example of this through physical, mental, and spiritual capacity. But I want our people to focus on these seeds, these melanated seeds that were first thrown out before there was any language, any word, anything that you've been taught, okay? Because in nature, the seeds are the ones that have to be planted in fertile soil in order for anything to grow. And then it needs sunlight, it needs water and nutrients, and then it needs to be in fertile soil. And that's why we're going to talk about today some of the greatest lessons in nature that we need to pass down to our children. Okay. All right, brother. Thank you. The first thing I want to start with, and I'll go through the visuals real quick before I actually get in the presentation, Lance. The ones with the fruits on the earth,
Oh,
Either one of the yeah. And so the other one, the world, keep going, brother.
okay,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Right there. So now you see those wonderful seeds that were thrown out. And they said George Washington Carver talked to plants. And each individual plant was important to him. Now, man, imagine this, brother. You're talking about one of the most gifted men in the history of the world, but yet he honored plants. And you know what he said? They said, now here's a man that created over 300 different products from sweet potatoes, peanuts, okay? But yet each individual plant, he went out every day and spoke to them and gave them respect, where you have people that won't even respect you. Now, this is
So
the
true.
prototype of a real creator man, okay? I don't
Yes.
care what you say. In fact, one of the cruelest things they did to him was they castrated him because they didn't want him to pass down this gift to his children.
Wow.
And so
I
that
didn't
he,
know that.
yeah, and so that he would not, because white women were all over him during that time. See, these are things they don't talk about.
Oh man.
He was the smartest one in his class. He was denied entry. And see, when you hear these people who are ignorant of history and have our coons regurgitating these lies, they'll be saying stuff like, well, affirmative action is because of blah. No, it's because if you were not forced to give us just a tiny chance, that's all we needed, then we would have no chance when you controlled everything. So he walked 8 miles to go to this school initially, this black school. So what happened to Dr. George Washington Carver was, and then I'm gonna get into this a little bit, because this man really needs, homage needs to be paid to him. So what happened to him was, back during this time, like in 1964, when in 1864 and 1865, when the Civil War was actually ending, you had these people, the Klan that they call raiders, and they would go to different farms and steal black people, mainly women, because they wanted breeders, and take them into the deep South, you know, to where the real slavery is going on, okay? So what happened was, when he was 13 years old, his mom and him and his brother were kidnapped by these raiders, okay, and taken to Arkansas, which was like the first place where they had that deep South type slavery that was close to Missouri where they lived. And now imagine this. So the owners of them, because, you know, they were slaves, this is still during that time that they're trying to erase, which is so fundamental to America, and they don't even realize it, is that they took them and so their owner sent bounty hunters after to try to find them to see if he could recover them, you know. And so, long story short, they found George. Okay, they found George Washington Carver, but they never found his brother and his mother. Now, imagine you never knowing or seeing, never seeing your mother again. She was never heard of again. Okay, that's why, like we were talking earlier, Lance, about, you know, when you're in these fights and you're in a championship situation or whatever it is, and you're trying to hold on to the belts and you taste your own blood, you have to respond because we know that the weeds are there. This is what nature teaches us. And we're going to talk about today and show the, and again, I'm speaking from a metaphorical sense, which deals basically with the spiritual and psychological aspect of this. We will touch some of the physical aspect, but imagine not knowing who your mother, where she is for the rest of your life.
Oh, man.
See, the type of stuff that our ancestors encountered from just pure evil, hate, we never encountered. We think we're dealing with something, but we're not. The reason why we're dealing with stuff is because we refuse to help each other. Okay, let's just keep it real. We have what they never had. We have the resources. Black people have the resources in America to change the situation. That is a fact. Okay, that is a fact. So to wrap up with Dr. George Washington Carver, so he went through all the progressions. He finally got accepted at Iowa State, which is Iowa State University today in Ames, Iowa. It was an agricultural college. And so he was the top of the class, the first Black student there, and the first Black professor at Iowa State. And then I admonish everybody, okay, to look at the documentary, okay, on Booker T. Washington, Up from Slavery, and the discovery, the start of Tuskegee Institute, okay, where the Black pilots, okay, come from, where they did the syphilis experiment on our people. Okay. Yeah, you have to see that documentary. But Booker T. Washington wrote him a letter because he was the only person, white or black, in the country that had the ability to establish, because what was going on at the time, the soil in the South was destroyed because of cotton. Okay. And our people, that was the only source that they had after they came out of slavery. They wasn't given anything. So they had to use that's why I always say, grow where you're planted. They had to take what they knew, planting and harvesting cotton. But it also destroyed the soil. But here the Creator sends a man. Now, George Washington Carver is somebody that's revered by even those who opposed our people. He is celebrated by all Black institutions and even the daughters of the Confederacy, because he saved the soil in the South, and they knew that. You don't have to take my word, just look it up. Okay. So here was a man that the Creator, and I'm going somewhere with this because, see, this is the prototype of a Black man that you've been fooled about. And why our kids killing up each other over this ridiculous fiat when they have the greatest gifts of the sun inside of them. But they're not being taught this. So finally, Booker T. Washington wrote him and said that I don't have the money to offer you. I don't have the fame or prestige to offer you $1,000 a year. Some of our people ain't gonna work for $1,000 a month or a week. This is why it's important to remember what the sacrifices while you're around here arguing with these old crazy vampires. We got to focus on our children. Okay. You don't have as much time as you think. Okay. So what happened was he said, however, there's only one man on God's green earth that can uplift our people out of the condition, which was sharecropping, where you know what they did to our people during sharecropping, how they deceived them, used Christianity and had them quoting scriptures, you know, and then at the end of the year, they didn't they say, because they couldn't read or write or verify it, the good Christians said, well, you didn't pick enough cotton and other crops to pay for your debts. And this went on for 150 years, as crazy as that is to believe. See, we have to tell our history to our children, because the thing that they do is to erase the power and the potential in you melanin people, the original seeds that you saw earlier in the earth. So, so what happened was he wrote back and he said, it has been the desire of my life to give the gift that was given to me by the Creator to my people who are in a condition that, well, basically man has put them in. Okay. And then they asked him, they said, well, and he lived in a little laboratory for 47 years in Tuskegee. He had to go out and get things out of trash cans because they didn't have the money to buy. Although you had wealthy people during that time. See, this is what's so crazy. The Boule, they had money, but they refused to help anybody at Tuskegee. So he went out and he built a laboratory. Think about this. From stuff he got out of trash cans. Okay? Over 300 products. And finally they said,
Wow.
well, what? Yeah, they said, well, here's a man that could, because this is the way they think, could financially be like a corporation itself. Henry Ford offered him that, and several other people, rich people. He said, no. He said, why would I take what the Creator has given me and sell it to his children? Now look how far we are removed, the real black man, the real original seed on the planet. Look how far we are removed from that. See, this is one of the main reasons we're in the condition we're in. Our
Right.
people get this because you're taught by people who don't have this. But yet you teach our children to imitate, and every time they get it, this so-called fame, these rituals, and selling their souls to these Luciferians and vampires, they take it all back and they shame them before the world. Now, that picture you saw with the fruit, this was the abundance, the natural abundance from the seeds, yes. You don't see no weeds. This is how we existed. The whole planet, wherever RP got you out here with this whole stupid stuff, talking about, look, black folks, some people were in every continent on this planet. So you can keep all of this irrelevant fighting going on while these people continue to take away your essence, and you're destroying the generation under us. And see, this is what you don't get. Okay. So the creators want me to be a little hard. I'm going to try to do this in a soft way. Not soft way, but in a way where I'm not beating our people down, because we get enough of that. That's what I meant. But you see this. This is how the world existed from the motherland. Africa is the only continent that is connected to the earth. All other ones shift. It's the only continent that is rooted in the earth. Okay? But
Yes, sir.
you see all this fruit. You see organic. Here's the principle. Organic, not GMOs. All of this was introduced to you, okay, not by superior intellect, but by inferior intellect, because we all know that you would not be on blood pressure, high blood pressure medication. You wouldn't have diabetes running rampant, which killed all of my family, including my parents. But you would be in a healthy state. You wouldn't have to need Medicaid, Medicare, none of that, which I don't have anyway. You wouldn't need that. And the only reason they want to give you that is they can suck all the little fiat that you get from you. Okay, brother, thank you. That next picture with the earth and the greenery around it. You there, brother? No, the
Yes,
next.
I'm here.
Okay, yeah, no, you go ahead. I'll let you
Okay,
know.
let me see.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I think this is it.
No, it's
Okay.
the next one.
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, bingo.
There we go.
There you go. Now, see, when you talk about worshiping and all this language that you've been taught about worshiping, Serapis and all, and seizure boys, and our people worship the real creator, okay? And this is what the state you're in. You see how happy and festive these people are sitting around the table, the original people. Look how much of the earth is covered in greenery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not just physically, but that was your mentality and that was your spirituality as well.
Yes.
And look how they're celebrating that. Let that sink in for a minute.
Very intense.
Very, brother. See, this was our mindset during this time prior to the hostile invasion of the planet. We're going to get to that too as well. This is how we look at the joy, look at the happiness, look at the celebration. This is why they put you in concrete jungles. See, you're dealing with a cunning being, okay? Probably the most cunning being on the face of Earth. They are diametrically opposed to your nature. I don't know why you don't want to accept this. You cannot be them. I don't care how much you look, talk, act, you cannot. This is the natural state of the original seeds that we saw in the beginning that the Creator threw out. So I want to ask this question because I know a lot of religious people will get angry at me when I ask this question. Okay. So if in the beginning was the word, then how is it that you can't have language without concepts? How is it that you can't have language? Because so one of the oldest tribes that exists on the planet, one of the originals, the Sands people, all right, they didn't speak a language. They spoke like, like that. And the whole concept is that it is the sound, okay, the vibration that affects you more than the spoken word. Because we all know that English is what you can consider a bastardized language, which means that you can be deceived at least a minimum of 6 ways. You're talking about antonyms, homonyms, and synonyms. And so you have to put the law of polarity, which doubles both. Okay. So, all right, brother, you can go to the one where if you see those locusts flying over the seeds that were planted. Yes, sir. Thank you. Now, still sticking with me from a metamorphic type of way of looking at this, metamorphically speaking. You see these locusts? Okay. this is what a hostile invasion is. And this is what weeds do to plants. Okay. Those locusts right there, by the time they finish going over, now remember we started out with the beautiful wheat that came, because wheat and barley is good for you. We started out with the beautiful seeds and the wheat that came from the seeds. And we get down to these locusts or this invasion that ate up all of the weeds. And the final one, brother, is the desolate, that desert with those trees up there. That it was actually, yeah, exactly. This is the state that we're in today. Because what happened was after the hostile invasion of the weeds into black lands, then this was the result. Now, this is, you remember all those nice looking weeds we saw in the beginning when the seeds were thrown out, and that was you? Now this is you.
Yes.
Now this is you. And again, nature is our greatest teacher. We know that this is a result, the weeds destroy, okay, this particular area, which was a vegetation garden. Okay, my brother, thank you, man. I'm going to get into the presentation now. And I hope
Beautiful.
that everybody's doing good. We, you know, I was, sometimes I wrestle with myself because, again, our people are in a emotional state because of the pain that's inflicted on us every day. So I'm conflicted because the creation's being saying, no, just go, right? And but when I look at what the creator has done, I have to explain it in these terms because this is the primary reason why you were deceived right here, what we're talking about today. Black plants, white weeds, the hostile invasion of the planet. Now let's go into initially when you look at the plant kingdom. Okay, now again, we're using this as a metaphor for the physical, mental, or psychological and spiritual or etheric existence of our people here on the planet. So you have what you call a category and a subset. Okay, this is the relationship between plants and weeds, or 93% of the people on the planet and 7%. So the 7% is actually a subset of the larger category, which is you. So this is the concept when one set or subset, okay, or weeds, is entirely contained within a larger general set, which is a category. So I'm going to say that again, that you are the category. You are the seeds that were thrown out initially, okay? But within that category is what you call a subset. So that's what the plants is the category. The subset is the weeds. And the concept where one set, the subset, or the 7%, global 7%, is entirely contained within a larger general set category, which you are. Okay, so let's get that straight, because many times you're taught to be thought of as the subset when you're not. You're the category that all other things come into, sort of like the tree and the branch analogy and the roots. So all weeds are plants, okay? But not all plants are weeds. Now there's a reason for that, okay? because plants have a purpose, like the seeds that you saw in the beginning being thrown out. And those seeds, okay, whatever your purpose, if you wanted it to be an apple tree, a mango tree, whatever you wanted it to be, that's what it's going to be. However, all plants are not weeds. Okay, so that's why we have coons among us. That's why we have people that look like us, like all skin folk are not kinfolk. That's why you have this dynamic, because as you go higher in the progression of nature, then you see this concept. Okay, and that's why the battle that Black people are fighting now is at this level. Okay, and so the ones that are at the level of the subset, they have to use weapons against you that are from you. They don't have any choice because they didn't create anything. Mm-hmm. So plants have a purpose, but the difference is that weeds aggressively fight against this purpose. And we know this from the law of polarity, where you have opposing forces, something that is diametrically opposed to you, or the sun and ice concept. Okay, so when people tell you that I don't see color and color don't matter, they're lying to you. Color has always mattered in America and always will, because that is the only way that they can identify your power. And then once they see the color, they know the power you have. The thing about weeds is they can grow up with the plants and you can't identify them until, sometimes it's too late because they have choked, like the one you have on the tree. Sometimes, they're very aggressive, and they have to be, because they're invading a territory. Okay. And again, this is a metaphor for how when they invaded our lands, Black lands, like you were saying, Lance, in your description, which is brilliant, how they basically, they saw what they didn't have, and they knew that they wanted it and needed it. They didn't care how much they destroyed. That's why I always say Black people and white people don't worship the same God or creator. I don't know why you think that. You don't. This is the law of polarity. These are divine laws, not religion. Okay, so a weed is not a biological classification. It's a label. Okay, it's a label that was given to this phenomenon. It's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, and we see this, we see this in so many different areas in life. Okay, where no matter what you're doing, you're gonna have it may be just one weed. Somebody that's trying to destroy what your purpose is, what you planted, the seed you planted. They're either trying to affect the fertile soil that you planted it in, because weeds, they're very aggressive. They fight you. We're going to talk about how they fight you at every level. So that's why when Black babies are born, now you hear some of them saying they're breaking the bones of, our children, all this demonic stuff. So at some point, you have to recognize if somebody keep knocking your head off, but you still want to say, oh no, you didn't hit me hard enough that time. What the hell is wrong with you? So let's look at what makes a plant a weed. Okay. So what makes a plant a weed? They grow where they are not wanted. Invader. Okay. Well, you're not wanted, and no matter, so they flipped it and made you think that integration was the best thing for you because you're progressing up to where they are. No, That has been the destruction of the black civilization, integration.
Mhm.
When you look back through history, bro, black folks were way better off. Okay. And I'm gonna be honest with you with something. Sometimes when we knee jerk on things without really thinking through why someone with the weed mentality say the things they say, like black folks were better off in the 40s and stuff like that, we really have to listen to what they're saying. Okay. You really have, on the one hand, it is a way to try to put us down. But the reality is that black folks were closer during that time. Okay. We had our own communities. Okay. Because we always equate us being able to live amongst white people as the real progression. Okay. That's why I always say it was, I don't like to use that word blessing, but I'll do this for our people to get what I'm saying, of my life to come here. Because I saw a phenomenon that showed me the mistake that black folks have made. People from other cultures absolutely 1000% support each other and spend their capital, their time. Now I get it. As Americans, black people are woven into the society of America. I get that. But we know through some of our greatest economists like Dr. Claude Anderson, that if we don't think Team Black, this is the greatest mistake that we have made, and that we are going to be, and our children are going to be in slavery again. And see, when you hear the word slavery, you think about physical chains. No. That's just one aspect of slavery. So the other thing that makes a plant, you say something, Lance?
Oh, no. I'm listening intensely. No.
The other thing that makes a plant a weed, not only do they grow where they're not wanted, or they just invade and say, we discovered
Well, let me
this.
interject one thing on that thought.
Yes, sir. Go ahead,
Come to
man.
think of it. Have you noticed on different social media platforms how they glorify showing the motherland and different tribal dances, customs, and practices?
Oh, yeah.
And there's always a white woman who came from somewhere else, and she's right up in the middle of them.
Gorilla in the mist.
Yep. But it's like what you said, how weeds go places where they're not really wanted.
They do.
And they portray this thing like they don't learn that you don't welcome this thing amongst you, because they're coming on a mission. They're coming to learn your language. Yeah. They're coming to see how you live.
Yeah.
They want to slide in and find a way to break you down and take what you have. Because when you're too happy, and this goes in the West also, when you're too centered and happy and content, and we don't mean outwardly, yes, I'm happy, but they can see over time that you're moving smooth, that you're never really bothered in your expression. You don't look upset at anything. Your demeanor is centered. There may be little fluctuations if somebody tells a joke or whatever, but they want to know what that power is. They don't see you scratching your head and say, man, are you on the phone and I don't have the money for the bill. But you're handling everything smooth. They don't like that. They want to see what it is about you that makes you different, and they want to infiltrate you. So when you look at black people in the West, right, and how a lot of us are upset, a lot of us are stressed because of the atmosphere that we're in, they like that. They're glad. They're happy.
Yeah.
You master it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that surfer on the surfboard where there's a big wave over them, but they're just as cool and balanced. They want to know how you do it. You see what I mean? Yeah. And they want to invade you, get to you, and destroy it.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say, brother.
No, that's great. That's like putting milk. When you put milk in coffee, you immediately see it changes. So, but to kind of piggyback on what you said, that's a great point, because the first thing they did when they came to Kibalon, and they did this to Tainos in the Caribbean as well, when they saw when they saw the crop and harvest system that our people had, because remember, we always had abundance, like we showed with the fruit or on the planet. And I talk about this. I think we did a video a couple of years ago. It's in this book called "Things Fall Apart," and it's a true story that was written by a chieftain's son. I don't know what country it is. And like you were saying, they always want to paint. So they used to say that the Dogon was just, doing some wild savage dance and whatever. Turn out the Dogons were the most intelligent beings on the planet. They were actually mapping out the orbit of Sirius B and other planets in it. Now imagine that. That's what they were dancing. But it wasn't until this French scientist lived with them for 30 years, and he experienced one of their SIGGIs. That happened every 60 years, but he came at a time where there was like 10 years left before the SIGGI, and they were all planning. I mean, feverishly planning. It was focused on that. That SIGGI was coming. And then he was like, wow. They are, because he saw them drawing stuff in the dirt. Find out they're drawing the circular pattern of the blood system in the body. Now you're talking about people that didn't have x-rays, but they drew and that's why they started calling them aliens, white scientists in the 19th century, because they was spooked by this. Somebody draw the actual internal organs of a body and they don't have x-ray. So we got to remember who we are and the gifts we have and not fall for the okie doke. The other thing about they grow where they're not planted, where they're not wanted. And the modern term is gentrification, like you were just saying, right? And that gentrification, it chokes out your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So plants are planted with purpose, okay? But weeds come to destroy that purpose. Okay. So as I was saying, like when things fall apart, they observed, like you were saying, they learned that the Nile overflooded, at the Hilliker Rising of Sirius every August, and that there was going to be a great, we had a festival surrounding that event, okay, of Subtet, or Sirius B. We had a festival, and then the storehouses was running over with seeds. There was no grocery stores. There was no, look, all the families had, because this is what we use to worship. We worship around celestial events that define terrestrial events, like we're supposed to in nature. But when they came, the weeds came, they said, oh no, this what y'all happy about? I see you got all these storehouses running over and y'all dancing around here and all happy. We're going to cut this, because our joy has always been their sorest spot, like you were saying. That because they can't, like the old folks used to say, this joy I have inside of me, you can't take away. I used to hear my mom and them saying this. I didn't know what they meant. Another one my mom used to sing every day, Satan, we're going to tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all over this world. Satan, we're going to. And so a lot of that stuff come back to me because my first learning of nature, and I'll tell the story real quickly again, Lance, you know this story. I guess some of the family that's been around for a while know this story. That I was about 8 years old, and my mom had these plants called 4 o'clocks. And every day we would come home, to after school to get ready to go out, play ball or whatever. But we would stop and look at the 4 o'clocks. And they would bloom. Beautiful plants just opened up at 4 o'clock every day, like clockwork. So when we got out of school, it was the summertime, or whenever it was, when they did daylight saving time. No, it was towards the winter. Daylight saving time, where they pushed the hour up, right? So we came home that day at 4 o'clock, and the plants didn't open. And we're sitting there looking at my mom like, what's going on? Why the plants? Did God forgot to open the plants today? And she just looked at us in her calm way. She said, no. He said, God doesn't operate on man's time. God operates on nature's time. And then at 5 o'clock, they magically opened. And that was my first, I was like, wow. You mean you can manipulate time? And these people are the greatest manipulators. And they have our people totally bamboozled. And that is when I knew instinctively within myself that there was a greater power, okay, than what we have been told in these books that we read in school.
That's right.
The other thing is they compete with the desired plants or your seeds. They compete with them for light, like now, for water. Okay, and when you look at light, you can look at energy bills. Okay, this is the reason why you gotta learn to go off the grid with solar. Okay, it's because they control the energy grid, and it's something too that our people are not aware of until it's too late. You need to start preparing because they are going to. That's why your zip code is so important now. See, this is the new form of redlining. So they can look at your zip code and say, okay, well, we're going to cut energy or we're going to raise the energy costs in that zip code where they have to choose between buying food, paying rent, mortgage, and paying and having light. Hell, my mom and those used to have candles. They didn't burn light at night. They had lanterns. You remember? That's why I like these.
Right. Right.
And the little green ones that they put on the desk.
Yeah.
My dad and those used to use. That's the type of light we had around us. We didn't
I'm gonna get some of those too. I'm gonna get some of those and
Yes.
put them around my porch and my balconies and stuff. It's so much nicer, and you're not burning power, you know. And you learn to depend on nature and all things natural. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so the other thing they compete for is water. Okay, this is why one of the things they do is they like they did in Flint, in Memphis, and a few other places where they right here in Hunters Point where the black folks live, they damaged the water, polluted the water. Okay, so this is another thing. They try to attack you in any way they can to destroy your plant, your purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. Also nutrients. Okay. They fight in that ground against other seeds and roots, and because just like when with the baby in the womb, they're fighting against you from the time you're conceived.
Conceived, yeah.
They're fighting you. You just don't know it. So they're taking all the nutrients. That's why Asian people, they got their own, they have their fruit stand set up. You ain't taking that. And because they got places where they grow. I learn a lot from them. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, I know a lot of black folks don't like it when I give them props, but see, they have been, and a lot of them, the thing I like about them is when they, unlike what we've been taught to be like these vampires that can't admit or be accountable for something when they're wrong, that's their biggest strength. Oh, we're wrong about that. Let's do this. Let's change this. And I love that about them. They're not going to hold a grudge against you once they find out that they were wrong. This is the other thing that these vampires have put into the hot chakras of our people. Okay. You have to learn to forgive somebody. This religion that they have you practicing, you can't even forgive black folks that have made mistakes with you. Because all of us have made mistakes. So this is what weeds do. They choke this out. Okay. Also, for space. Like you see, they'll go into an area now, like they're taking over San Francisco. I don't know where they're coming from, but they're here. And they are here, bro. And they are, you know, they're in areas where I just 3 years ago I would never see them, but now they're all over the place. I was shocked. I was like, damn, they over here on 3rd Street where the Black Corridor is. I'm like, damn. They done bought up all the property and everything. The good thing is the Latino people are fighting them here. Okay. And if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for that, these weeds would, they would wipe everybody out. Trust and believe that. And the Asians are fighting them too for property. So the good thing is the Asians don't have to go to them for loans. They got their own banks, right? From China.
Self-sufficient.
That's why they cut you off from Akibalan and other places and got you fighting. You don't realize where your greatest source or resource is. But the weeds do. You're going to find out, though, because they're getting ready to shut black folks off everything. They already know you don't work together. You're not unified. Oh,
they've studied us already.
Huh?
Like when a fighter studies an opponent.
Yes. Yes.
Rims, you see these little things, these things that they do over and over. They've had nothing but hundreds of years to study us and manipulate us. So they have us, as they say, down pat. They got the rhythm down pat.
They got it down pat.
So
they got it down pat.
Yeah.
And like Dr. John Henry Clark said, we have no friends. I don't care how much we use in there doing
right.
This.
We don't.
We don't have no friends at all. And it's a reason for that. What we're talking about today. Because they have aligned themselves with the weeds. Okay. All other cultures have aligned themselves with an anti-black, bigoted God. And the weeds that this bigoted God put out. Not the ones we saw, the original seeds. All right, so they're there to choke out your purpose. The other thing that they do is they interfere with agriculture. When Dr. George Washington Carver,
Big time.
Look
agriculture, weather, everything.
Oh yeah, look what the USDA and what they're doing to black farmers now. Did this. So George Washington Carver, if he hadn't taught, so when he first went to the South and he saw the condition of our people, you know, they were only harvesting cotton because they didn't know anything else, but it was destroying. The other thing is because the 90%ers didn't realize that they had destroyed the soil along with the Civil War and the cottons that they were. So what they were doing is they were just taking from the earth like they do now with the oil while they're killing people over oil, right? And telling you it's drugs. They was taking everything out the soil like they do, but they don't leave or put nothing back. So it was depleted. And if George Washington Carver did not, what's the word I'm looking for, where he actually restored the soil with peanuts and sweet potatoes so that they could grow other crops, it would have been a wrap. So the 5 million black farmers that were there, they were stuck in that sharecropping cycle, right? And he single-handedly changed this. Now, think about if he had thought about himself. See, this is what our people don't think about. Think about if George Washington Carver said, oh, I'm recognized all around the world. There are different governments that was willing to pay him to come from America, bruh. And he said, no. I'm going to live in this little lab in on the campus of Tuskegee, and I'm going to do something that the purpose that I was planted here. That's why I always use the term grow where you're planted. You ain't got them They got our people fighting so much over attention, killing each other on Facebook and wherever else they doing this stupid stuff for attention. How can you say you're a king and queen when you don't even realize what the responsibility of a king and a queen is? Which
Right.
you are
Right.
on the planet. You are. So, you know, they interfere with the agriculture, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. They
Yeah.
interfere with your fertile soil. Whereas
On
you,
every level.
on every level, they're interfering with you. The other thing too is landscaping uh, um, of ecosystems. Okay, every system that you have, because we're all connected, whether you know this or not.
Yeah.
All people with you melanin are connected. Just read the black dot. Okay, so the thing is once these ecosystems are interfered with, they use landscaping to do that, and you don't even know it. I heard the brother that's the president of the Farmers Association trying to bring people up on game. You don't see what they're doing. This is why they've been able to survive. Now, the reason why they were able to survive because they use nature's natural ways of doing things, like what George Washington Carver taught them.
Right.
This was passed down to black farmers. That's why they surviving, and the other ones are not, because they don't know how to till the land or to reverberate the soil. They don't know how to do that. Black farmers do. Okay. So we talk about how they create GMOs and you know stuff like that, and inorganic foods and artificial concepts. And finally, what I want to say about weeds in the ecosystem, which is the system of all things in nature that's connected. Okay, you're going to have the law of polarity, so you're going to have an opposing force, which the weeds are. So
Right.
they are not always, as I was saying earlier, recognizable or identifiable until they have interrupted the purpose you are striving to achieve. So this is what happens to our people. We don't really see the weeds because we telling ourselves, oh, that ain't they get the coons on here to tell you, oh, that ain't racist. Oh no, that ain't, they're not trying to keep you. See, the thing about racism is it's institutionalized. You may not have individual, and even white people don't realize this. It's not individual people, it's the institution. So when you don't try to change the institutions for the betterment of all society, then you are complicit. This is why people get convicted just by their association. You may not have done it, but if you was associated with the person that did it, then guess what? You're going to be held accountable as well.
That's right.
But a lot of white people don't want to be their feet held to the fire like they hold black folks' feet to the fire. And then you have the foreigners who don't know our history, that don't realize the sacrifices of our ancestors,
Yeah.
that you know, come here and talk about black people. And black people do have a lot of pride. Look, like you used to tell me, if you grow up in a goddamn garbage, excuse my French, a
It's all
garbage
right.
container of trash, you're gonna come out smelling. There is a lot of trash in our community.
Yep.
But now that's less than, well, now, shoot, I guess it's about what I'm seeing now, up to 25%. Oh, you know, but this is the dominant reality that the weeds put out before our people. And see, the thing is not only that, they reward you for this degradation of our culture. I heard the other day, and I had heard this before, I'm sure you, Lance, and some of the people in the family have heard this, where these young rappers were talking about how they were brought into this special meeting, and these people that own these record labels are also own private prisons. And
Yep.
so they were told that they would become rich if they were willing to bring about this genre of music within rap. I mean hip hop, that we know as rap, that just basically told our people that we're just gangsters and thugs and hoes.
Yeah.
And if you did that, we will reward you handsomely. And that happened. And I applaud these young brothers because the Luciferians are very upset with them over this, over exposing this to our people. See, we can't live and walk in fear anymore with them. Okay, we cannot. We're at a crucial crossroads right now. Our people are. Because think about this, with all the things that have come at you and now they have you so divided, but they still know that anything short of a nuclear weapon can't destroy you. They're going to go nuclear on you. Not going to. They are going. They're going to take away, snatch the rug of support of everything that Black people depend on, and they're going to hit. I know a lot of brothers don't like this, but our women have always been the backbone of our community. I don't care if you don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they hit them, and that's because they've always fought to hold Black men down. They've always done that, and still do. The difference now is where our women back in the day recognized this and knew that it was more important for us to be a cohesive unit, as opposed to today that they reward our women for coming against Black men, the king.
Yeah.
And that's a reality we have to live with, and so when you bring something to light, it takes away the strength of it. Like I was telling you, we were talking earlier about a lot of things you talk about Black folks don't like because they don't want to hear the truth, because it hurts. Let's face it.
That's right.
It does. Black people carry the pain, the B5 memory in our genes, our genetic memory thing. No other people do that. Okay, and it's a reason for that. So let's talk about weeds in the ecosystem, and how you are deceived. Now, in an ecosystem where all things are connected, there are things that it may appear that the weeds are doing that's good, okay? And some of
Mm-hmm.
those are, they prevent soil erosion, okay? Or the illusion of fertile soil. They also provide food for insects, birds, and microbes. But the biggest thing too is they act as the pioneer species, like white supremacy. Like you were saying, they come to a land and they say, "Oh yeah, we discovered this. We put our flag here. We are the pioneering. We are the original species here, not you." Okay,
They'll never learn.
they'll never learn that So this is how they present themselves. Get out of my country. America is my country. Oh really? Since when? Tell me why you consider America your country. Tell me why. Because if we look at real history, we know that's a lie. You're an invader to this land,
That's
like
right.
all other lands. That is a fact. And so the other thing that they do is they prepare the environment for other plants. Mainly, and we can use this as a metaphor of how they prepare America from stolen land for foreigners through
Mm-hmm.
discriminating against Black or anti-Black sentiment, through lies, and also through a hostile takeover of every Black invention that they claim for themselves. Okay. Now, I heard the individual that's the head of our country, said all of the things that he mentioned that America is responsible for, you can go check yourself, were invented by Black people. All 7 of the things he mentioned, I don't know, I think somebody might have told him later, were invented by Black people. The light bulb, okay, all of these things he was talking about. And you know, it's not even funny, because what you're doing is you're robbing our young people of the ability to build something strong together.
Right.
It can be done, because you don't want Black children to lead, which they are the natural leaders on the planet. That is without a doubt.
Right.
So let's talk about the main problem with weeds to kind of close out here, brother. The first thing they do is they reduce crop yields on purpose. They prevent the growth of Black financial independency and our ability to create opportunities. So what they do is you can become a rapper, a basketball, football player, what else? Comedian. These are the highest, these always been like Stretch and Fetch It.
Yep.
The highest or the most profitable, I should say, employment opportunities for our people to entertain them. When you go back to Chicken George, you go back to the Fiddler, the fact that Black people have always had to entertain them, this is still prevalent today. But their primary goal is to reduce any type of wealth producing income for our people. Also, they increase the farming and maintenance costs, okay, which keeps you in a debt-like cycle like the sharecropping era. So they increase the cost of everything. So the fact that the weeds are choking out valuable plants or crops, okay, or like we saw the locusts flying over, eating up everything, right? And making everything desolate. Okay, the price of doing business increases when you try to have your own business. You're not getting supported by your own people. So yeah, you know, they put you in this position, and then they increase the cost for you to do business. Okay.
Right.
And finally,
let me just interject something. There's somebody here by the name of James Brown, probably something else using a name like that. Where did the idea of Black folks being natural leaders come from? Well, we're the original. We started it all. We created civilization. Everything that everybody else sucks from comes from us. And they lied about it in their history books, okay? It all comes from us. The whole planet is Africa, okay? It all comes from us. If you don't like it, you can leave the planet, okay? I mean, it's proven scientifically that most others are Johnny-come-latelys to this planet, and you got everything from us. So why wouldn't we be the natural leaders that taught you all civilization, right? But then you want to hear this narrative of just, and I'm just sick and tired of it, that there's so many people, even those that look like us, that come from the motherland, that fall into that whole thought process. We're not saying anybody is bad or whatever, but the history teaches us who's bad. We don't have to say it. Yeah, so we are the natural leaders. And when we wake up and become the natural leaders and wake that up inside of us again, what was taken over so many hundreds of years through brainwashing and pain, right? When we do that, the world will be straight. Until then, things aren't going to be right. And with those who are the minority, they'll say, oh, the minority, 14%, you're 13%. But what are you on the whole planet? So this is why we have to think globally. When we think globally and know that the whole planet is ours, then who's the minority then? You may have military power, or you may have this power because the system you created that you forced us into keeps you there, but you can't go against nature but for so long, right? Water always finds its level, and melanin will always find its level. So let me shut up on that.
Oh,
Go
that's
ahead, brother.
great. That's somebody that actually made a comment.
Yes.
Lance?
After you said that we're the natural leaders, there's always some trolls, and they'll put a name, and if you see their face, you know, I would love for these people to show their face.
Yeah.
You know, when
See,
they throw little things from behind a tree. I'm right here. I'm showing my face. I'm even working on stuff on my computers and stuff right now. I'm listening to you. I'm wound up. I feel real good. That's how I live. Natural born
this
leaders,
is
and I
one of the
take from
things
that.
that
That's
we're
why
talking
I
about.
am where I am and living how I'm living. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is one of the things we're talking about. See, the ignorance of the public school system, and you know, even a lot of universities, they don't teach real history. So when you have a lot of the white people that grew up with them just telling them, oh, this is what you did, manifest destiny, blah, 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 black folks are savages, they ain't never did. And so when they hear the truth, it cuts them. Just like with when Putin and Iran opened up the vaults, or Ethiopia, the Qibla Nagas, when you look at the real history of the world, it's shocking to them because there's a narrative that the white supremacists have taught them. So the other thing too is, I would tell this person, just study genetics, man. I tell you what, study Mendel's law about dominant and recessive genes, and then you'll see what we're trying to tell you today. There's no need to argue about this. See, the other thing too is, Lance, is they invoke this hate, this emotional hate, because that's the only comeback they got. They don't know real history. They only know and regurgitate what somebody who themselves is anti-black have taught them. So yeah, you know, this is a teachable moment for that individual. That and I know they get angry because imagine it's like a child finding out that you're not my real father. My whole life until they do a DNA test. Now I'll tell you, no, thank you, Creatrix. Thank you, Creatrix. Tell that person to take a DNA test, and I bet you he'll find out that at some point in his DNA history, or her, whoever it is, that in order for you to be on this planet, you either have a mitochondrial DNA from a black woman, okay, or you have a paternal black person, black male, somewhere in the lineage of your people, okay? That is a fact. That's not Neil Frazier or LANCESCURV. That's why they have, Americans are dumbed down, okay? And see, unfortunately, this is going to hurt our younger people because America is not going to regain the position it has. They keep lying to people, talking about, well, America is doing great. We have trillions of dollars and all of this. Nah, bro. No. And we're not trying to. So here's the other thing, too. We can have white professors or other people on YouTube and other places all day long trying to educate their people. And they look at it like, oh, TED Talk. This is a higher, standard of intelligence. This is Harvard, or Princeton. But when black folks talk about the reality that we know, they have a problem with it because you're not living or regurgitating their narratives. So I actually feel sorry for people like that because they've been deprived of things that would help, not only help them, but help other people that they're connected to.
Yeah.
So finally, they compete with plants. And When we intentionally cultivate our seeds, they fight against our harvest. Perfect example of what's going on right now. Whenever we start talking to each other and educating our people about the real nature and who we are, they can't handle it.
Can't.
They look at it the way they see us. Like we're no, we're not anti-white, we're anti-weeds. And weeds is the behavior of something. Okay. So if you want to interpret it as anti-white, I guess, that's on you. But the fact of the matter is the whole planet is black, always has been. And everything that comes from it is just a manifestation or a branch of the original root. And I'll end with that today, brother.
Thank you so much. Always, as always. Yes, a request I saw earlier was made for a link to come on in, but we're going to end this now. If you want to, I might, you said so. I mean, if you want to talk for 5 more hours, I'm going to sit right here, right? But I might shoot me a title and we can go live in a little while. I'm going to push it tonight. I got a lot of stuff, and I do have a close friend coming into town tomorrow, and I don't even know what time they're going to arrive, but I want to get some good content because I mainly do one or two things tomorrow, and it may be on the go, so I'm hyped. I'm fidgety in a good way. So when I'm like that, it's like getting ready to do the ring walk so we can do what we do.
Well, so keep holding on to the belts, brother. And I'll be in touch with you again soon.
Gonna keep it going for real.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, brother. Much love.
Peace
Thanks
and love.
again
Much
for the
love.
time and the research.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Definitely.
All right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are going to wrap this one down, and I'm open to talk on some different topics because questions were levied, and I know Maureen asked a question, and so what I'm going to say to her question, she basically said, did slavery put us in a flight or fight mode? I think slavery did, yes, but it's continued on more now through the other things that we continue to go through. And it's almost like somebody throwing a rock from behind a tree and you turn around and see who hit you and they're not there. And so you have a lot of people out here who swear up and down these attacks are not done to us. It's more than a person just saying the N-word and yelling at us, whatever. They want to do that, and they do that in their own way. But it's the way the systems are set up. And you have so many people that I'm learning the world over, not even just in America, that love their colonizers so much and hate us from America so much, and all they do is fixate on the blame game, and this is why you Black Americans this, and this is why you Black Americans what, and those others love those types. Oh, come on in, you think like me. We don't like you either, but we can hold you up and use you as a shield whenever we're accused of something, just like when you have a movie with a gangster and they're in a shootout with the police or other gangsters, and they grab a child and hold the child up to defend themselves against those bullets, right? A punk move. So they love that, but they're diminishing. And with those who love being oppressed and watching an oppressor do their thing so much, sync with them. Go with them. You love them so much. You don't love yourself at all. You don't love unity. You don't speak about unity. You don't speak about us coming together, which most of us probably aren't, because after all these decades of saying it and seeing what's done on so many sneaky ways in our food and with our water, with politics and policy, not just cops killing us, but they're doing all kind of things, little sneaky things, and we don't see it because it's so many things across the board. We're still here. And you can't figure out why all the drugs that are dumped into our neighborhoods and the lack of opportunities, how they want to erase our history from schools. Well, hell, you weren't telling it right in the first place. You know what I mean? So the little bit that's there, you want to erase it? You want to chop every part of us down. See, like my father always told me, if a table had 25 legs and you remove 10 of them, the table's still going to stand. See, this is why we're standing, because we're so strong on so many different fronts in ways we don't even know. We're going off the momentum of our ancestors and still remaining strong under all these attacks, all these diseases they're putting out. When they put out that disease, so-called, which it wasn't the disease, it was the reason why, they put that out there so we can take this. And you look out in the motherland, folks weren't dropping like that. It's always going to come around to us. We should anticipate that. We're going to be the bottom rung on their attacks. When they attack humanity, we're going to be the ones that they intend for it to be worse. Like Bill Gates. Everything. And so many of us, oh, he's such a good man. Yes, he's implementing this and, make the crops stronger, and the food won't have any nutrition. And the religions that you're following has no nutrition because it's not putting no fire in your guts to see something going on against your people. And you sit there, oh, yes, well, turn the other cheek, whatever. No, bust the other cheek. Bust the other cheek. You don't have a right to defend yourself. You don't even have a right in your mind to call things out. You're afraid to open your mouth and speak. Oh, I'm gonna lose my job. Well, find a way of making money on your own that you don't have to depend on them. But look, everything the Creator makes has the right to defend itself. Look, I'm out here in the motherland. You see my videos, you see in the background, you see the mountains. I don't even dare go out of my own backyard at night with no lights. And when I go out, guess what? I keep one of these with me. I got one in every corner where I live. Not because I'm afraid anybody climbing over that wall, but I have to defend myself, right? So that's how it is. You see some animals with fangs. You see some animals with claws. You see some animal ability fast to be elusive to danger. You see some animals that can jump high. You can see some snakes that have venom. I was in the back a little while ago, and even the other day, I went on my front porch, and there was a python getting up out of there, which shows me, look at that. They have venom, and they can do really great damage to you, but their first thing is peace. But see, we're stuck on that as Black people. We don't have any unity, and we want to be peaceful to the one that we have Stockholm syndrome for. What is that? So when we speak revolutionary, we're peaceful people, but we're pushed so much that we got to start talking a different way and be just as shrewd as them to not accept their attacks. Look at it. I go down to the market, and they have a fertilizer that they sell down there. I didn't even mean to talk this long. Maybe I'll make another show and we'll rant like that. And in every bottle of fertilizer, and I've been meaning to do this, and I'm going to take my little, I don't know if I'm going to take that camera down there, but I'm going to take my little smaller camera here and do a little something. Every bottle of fertilizer has atrazine in it as the chief primary ingredient. And if you don't know what atrazine does and what it's proven to do, they gave it to frogs, and yes, high dosages, and the frogs became female frogs, straight up female frogs that were able to lay eggs. And they use this primarily in California, Florida, and Texas. So of course it's going to be lower dosages, but still, with things you see on TV, or young boys seeing boys kissing boys, right? And you got this atrazine in you. And the schools are pushing rainbow stuff. And we're sitting in front of the computer as young boys, consuming these things that are full of estrogen, bottled water. It does something to the water and increases the estrogen. We got little soft boys now walking around with titties. I have to say it that way. What happened to wanting to go out and play and jump, and your mother got to call you in to come on inside? You've been out there. No, but I want to stay a little longer. But no, we there scrolling. On the internet, you have all the perverse sexual acts. I mean, we're all a little open-minded and kinky sometimes within reason. But there are things that now pop up on the screen. A child doesn't even have to be curious. A child can tell you about what to do than an adult knows. When I used to drive the bus out in Orlando, Florida at the Lynx Bus Company, I heard these little girls about 13, 12, and 14, the little Catholic school outfits on, black girls, talking about the best way, I'm going to say it like this, to give head. Where did they get this from? Bragging about their 30 and 40-year-old boyfriends that take them to the mall to go shopping. And we need to be on point, and we need to be vicious about it. But see, the enemy wants you docile and accepting everything. And yes, we're all about love. We're not about hate. But don't you think God hates some things? But you say you're a child of the Creator. But God hates, but you can't hate. Righteously hate. I'm not talking about blind hate, shallow something. Again, we're peaceful people, but there's certain things we got to hate. There's certain things we have to put in line. That's why you got lines, a double yellow line in the middle of the street. You cross the line, you know what's going to happen. You're going to have a head-on collision. But see, we don't want to have any lines anymore. We don't want to have anything defined anymore about what is right and what is wrong and the best way to do. That's why we have more people putting guns to their head, shooting themselves, jumping off of buildings, shooting needles in their arm, killing themselves with different things. Killing themselves with food, killing themselves with all, because there's no guideline anymore. And we don't want to obey it. We want to do everything that we want to do. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you. Just sock it to me. Remember that song? That's before a lot of your time, right? But I don't know. I just caught the spirit a little bit and just had to talk. And again, if you're not subscribed to LANCESCURVX.com, go there and put your email address in there, because we don't know how these algorithms go. A video can have 1 million hits. I don't even care about how many. It's about how we dialogue with each other and how we reach people and have healthy, healing dialogue. If you're driving on the road and a cat jumps out in the road and you turn the wheel 3 times to avoid hitting the cat, then you better turn the wheel back 3 times to get right on your path, or you're going to have a collision with somebody else. We turn the wheel so much and we're so off course right now, many of us don't even know how to get back on. And I'm not just saying about intoxicating yourself with religion and bathing yourself in religion out of guilt from what you didn't do in your life or what you are doing and feel guilty for. Binge purge. I'm not all kind of stuff. When some Saturday night, then you fall out in the spirit. This is that. I'm gonna do a little rant show eventually, but like I said, we're gonna do what we do. And I don't care what YouTube does, what social media does. I'm always gonna speak when I need to speak from my heart. You know, they have rules and words you can't say, and you have to duck here. But there's look, I'm a wordsmith. I can talk. I can tell a dirty joke on Sunday morning in church and not say anything wrong. But you know exactly what I'm saying. That's how we have to be, right? Anyway, let me run. Let's wrap this down. And like I said, it's all love. It's all love. We will talk later on. I may put up a link. Look out for it. All right? Peace.
Actually, today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, he's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just human, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to LANCESCURV. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.